As a young child, Louis is very undisciplined and actually a bad kid. He stole a lot, stole pies from people, stole other food, and he was always running into problems with the police and the juvenile detention. Eugenics was something that California tried to put into play, and Louis was actually a prime target for this because of the situation that he was in where he was a bad kid. So Louis decided to change his life around. At the same time, his brother Pete saw potential in Louis as a Olympic athlete or somebody that could be a great athlete someday. So he decided to push him and push Louis to his max. Why are you making me run so much?
I'm chasing you.
Why are you chasing me?
Listen here. Stop. Okay. The way you're going right now, you'll end up being a bum on the street.
Why?
You drink liquor, you steal constantly, you make that mad every day.
I have to. It's just who I am.
The way I see it, you can take it, you can make it.
If I can take it, I can make it?
Yes. And by doing that, we'll run. You'll be a trackster like me.
Track star?
Track star, yeah.
Track star. How do I become a track star?
By running. Let's go.
Run what?
By running. Keep going. Go.
Because Louis trained so hard with his brother Pete, he began to win races by a lot, even set records in his high school days. This came back from his time when he was a young kid stealing stuff. He trained so hard from then, and now he is setting records in high school. And then he got a scholarship to USC. Woo! At USC, Louis set a lot of records, national records, and he actually was pushed to compete in the Olympics. He wanted to push to train for the 1500 in the Olympics, which was the mile run back then. But now, because he wasn't necessarily to the right ability yet, he ended up running the 3000 in the Olympics. Louis qualified for the 1938 Olympics in Berlin, Germany, where he competed very well in the 3000. He recorded the fastest time for the last lap in history of the 3000, and he came away very motivated for the next Olympics in 1942. But in 1942, the U.S. pulled out of the Olympics and because of the war, and he ended up deciding to go into the Air Force because they were gonna have a draft for the American Army, but he wanted to go in the Air Force instead. I'm joining the Air Force because I don't want to get drafted anywhere else.
Yeah, it's a wise decision.
Louis and his pilot Phil excelled in training, and they ended up going to war with a plane that they were not necessarily comfortable with, and it had mechanical difficulties. They were shot down in the Pacific Ocean, and they were stranded at sea for over 47 days. Mac, the third man who was on the airplane, ended up dying after days at the ocean. And Louis and Phil had hope when they saw a plane fly over. They shot the flare, and the plane came back and started shooting at him. It wasn't an American plane. It was a Japanese plane.
Plane, I'll shoot my flare. It's coming. Oh, wait. It's shooting at us under. Oh. Oh.
Louis and Phil ended up catching seagulls and fish to keep them alive for food, but they ended up having to fight off sharks constantly. The sharks were always swarming them underneath in the deep waters.
Gosh, Phil, we've been out here for so long, just catching birds and fish. When are we ever gonna get found? I don't know. Okay.
Phil and Louis drifted over 2,000 miles in the Pacific Ocean and finally landed on an island Unfortunately, this island was captured by the Japanese, and it was a prisoner of war camp for the Americans, held by the Japanese.
Look, Phil, it's finally land. Oh,
Go!
Go. Oh yeah. Where's that? Oh.
Hey, welcome to Japan!
The POWs on this island were treated horribly and very harshly, especially Louis. Louis was found out by the Bird, who everybody called the Bird because they hated him so much. They found out who Louis was, and he was an Olympic athlete, and they treated him worse than everybody else on the island.
And Mandarin. Good.
Starving, beaten. That's what happened to the POWs of America's citizens on the Japanese islands.
I'm so hungry, and I hate the Birdman. He hates me more than anyone, and I have so much anger. I mean, look how hungry he is.
I hope the war's over soon.
干闭嘴，我们吃饭呢。
Oh.
The Bird continued his hatred and beatings towards Louis because of who he was.
起来！ Come here.
Louis and some of his buddies would sneak into the camp director's offices and steal the newspapers so they could read about how the war is going and how America is doing. This actually came back from Louis' childhood, and he used those skills that he learned to steal. What's it say?
It says that the war's coming to a close and America's winning and they bombed Hiroshima and that all the prisoners will be killed if America wins.
Hiroshima. Killed?
Yeah. All prisoners. Nobody will escape alive.
Louis was able to return along with lots of POWs of American citizens, but Louis came back beaten, skinny, starved, and he had a horrible leg injury, but he is very happy to see his family.
Pete.
Welcome home, little brother.
After Louis returned home, he was a man of hatred. He hated the Bird. He hated everything about the Japanese. He became a drunk, and he actually got married, but it was a very hard home life for his wife and children because of the way he was. Something needed to change, but Louis wanted to get after every single person that treated him wrong during the war.
Louis, you need to quit drinking so much.
Just go away! Mind your own business!
Louis' wife was able to convince him to attend a Billy Graham conference. Louis actually converted to become a Christian, and he learned the key to his life, which was forgiveness. He learned and he completely changed his life. He was not a drunk anymore, and he actually wanted to forgive everybody who treated him wrong during the war. The only person he didn't come in contact with was the Bird, because the Bird still hated Louis and actually didn't want to speak to Louis. So the Bird actually died before Louis convinced the Bird to meet him, and Louis wanted to tell him that he forgave him, but the Bird never did.
Accept Jesus as your Savior and forgive others like how He forgave you.
How do you accept Jesus as your Savior?
Let's just pray.
All right.
Louis was able to forgive everybody that he came in contact with and who beat him during the war, except for, as I said before, the Bird.